Y'all, it's too
Hmm.
much going on here with Mr. Shannon Sharpe. I'm just telling y'all right now. It is way too much going on with Mr. Shannon Sharpe. But what I wanted to start off with, we got my special guest, Mr. Bluminati. Tell him hello.
Hey, how y'all doing, people? My good people, my Pamites. What we calling your people, man?
My people are the entertainers.
The entertainers. What's good to the entertainers? How y'all doing out there, man? How
We're
y'all?
doing good. Thank you so much for joining me. I got Blue on here to join me because this is a lot to go on, and I do always want to have a male perspective going on because if I can go off, I can go off, and then it's always you're man bashing, you're man bashing. No, I just want us to be clear about what's going on with Mr. Shannon Sharpe. What have you heard so far, Mr. Bluminati?
I mean, it's making the rounds. What I think everybody knows what's going on. So what I'm saying, Shannon apology video. I think we'll get into that. The leak audio that came out about him, him between him and the girl. That
Right.
looks bad. It seems bad, but at the same time, are they role playing? Is she just trying to video or record? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff going on, like you said. What really caught my attention was Tony Busby. That's what caught my attention. Tony Busby. And I don't know how much credence and credibility I get to Tony Busby anymore. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't know if I should even be taking this serious. You know what I mean?
Right. Uh-oh, what happened? Okay, so this is what we'll do. We will go ahead and listen to this audio. Let me cue it up for the people. Oh Lord. I told you one of these days I'm gonna get me an engineer
Got
and
to.
we are going to definitely. All right, so here we have the audio. And y'all let me know if you can hear this.
Don't you really want to know? Hey there, I'm Dennis Miller. You want to see my new 3-part series,
Well, I don't really want to hear Dennis Miller. He's never been funny to me.
I didn't even know that. Is these just old commercials or something?
I don't know. It must be. So we're getting ready. This is an article from TMZ. It says Shannon Sharpe's accuser releases purported audio. I'm going to effing choke the SHIT out of you. Here we go.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
what? What does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Okay.
What was pause that? I'm sorry, man. Well, let's play it all the way through.
It's still playing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Wait a minute. We're gonna back up again. So I'm gonna start it from the beginning because there's a lot of silence in this video. So let's just start back over again.
Like, I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
what? What does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I don't.
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
That's some of the weirdest dialogue. That's just
One of
weird
the most
dialogue.
daring and consequential.
Sorry about that.
You know what I mean? It's real weird dialogue between the two. That call or whatever, I don't know what to make from that. I really don't. I can't choose a side or say what's real, what's not. Like Loyalty says, you could tell she's young and is immature. I will fault Shannon from what I understand. He met her at the gym. You know what I'm saying? From the initial reports, whatever. 19, he 50 something years old. I think he just turned 50 at the time.
Exactly.
Why you messing with this little girl, man? That's he already went wrong. Why you messing with this little girl, man? You twice, you know what I'm saying? At least double her age.
Almost triple.
Yeah, almost triple. Why you mess with this little girl? That's
yeah.
That's where he messed up to me at. Like already you just going down the wrong path. So I really don't.
That don't sound romantic. We men are romantic. That don't sound romantic.
Nah, that ain't
me.
romantic.
I don't know what that is.
That ain't romantic at all, you know. But like I said, was that role playing? Because from he released the text messages, seemed like they got a relationship to where they do stuff like that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
So in that article, because so I just want to be able to explain what I'm getting ready to do now. Okay. So in this video, we heard him say her name.
Mm-hmm.
And so last night when I read the text messages, because his team released her name, but as her team released this audio to the news and he used her name, I'm going to show the statement from his attorney. So it doesn't seem like I'm trying to out a victim, but I heard her name being used, and that was something that she did. So surely, if she wanted that, they released that should have been bleeped, but it wasn't. So I don't feel like I am releasing her information or her name outside of the realm of what she wanted to do. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to think, oh, you're trying to out the victim. I'm not outing anyone. I heard her name being used. All right. So let's go here to Instagram. So this is a statement by Lanny J. Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. It says here, in quote, "I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me." And this is supposed to be from Gabby in a text message sent to Shannon Sharpe on October 7, 2023. "I know you missed this big juicy ass. 25,000 for each cheek." Now, let me just explain something to you. That's $50,000. 25. Who talks like this? I may be out of the loop, y'all, but you all let me know.
Who talk like this?
Who talks like that? 25K a cheek. Are you twerking and clapping in the thing? I've just never heard. I'm not part of the kink nation, so I haven't heard language like this. So if I sound prudish, that is why, because I have not
Don't
heard.
Be kink shaming. Don't be kink shaming around
not
here.
Kink shaming at all. I just have not heard anyone speak like this, and so I'm just gonna keep going. This lawsuit filed by Gabby. Well, I'm not going to say her name. You will just read it.
It's there. You could, Pam. It's there.
Gabriella Zuniga,
It's there.
and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby. That's the buzzword, Mr. Busby,
Mhm.
is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations and will not succeed. In her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharpe with a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non consensual. Ms. Zuniga has refused to provide a copy of the full, unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharpe's legal team. To set the record straight, we are releasing several of Ms. Zuniga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharpe that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and sexual in nature, and in many cases, initiated by her with specific graphic requests. Contrary to the allegation she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for 25,000 per cheek, as quoted above from her text messages to Mr. Sharpe. There are other examples of text from Ms. Zuniga. For example, only if you put that baby gravy in me, then I can do whatever I want to me.
I think the I the I and the U is close. I think it's supposed to be.
Okay, so that's a text from her from November 23rd, 2023. Because remember, they were in I guess in a relationship for up to 2 years.
Mhm.
I want to put my tongue in your a-hole and then marry you.
Damn.
Lord, these folks eating the groceries now. Here's a text from her that says that was a text from January 12th, 2024. Then is That's my daddy fuck. I want you to put a big black baby in me. That was sent on August 6th, 2024. It says here, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. That's the text sent on August 11th, 2024. These messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphic sexual communications initiated by Ms. Zwinga. The evidence paints a clear picture. It was a consensual adult relationship that included role playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zuniga. The edited tape that Ms. Zuniga secretly taped and showed to Mr. Sharpe during her blackmail attempts tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages, that the sexual activity was not consensual. But Mr. Sharpe now believes her secret taping was all part of her planned setup as a part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tape, a copy which she refuses to make available to Mr. Sharpe or his counsel. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegation of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lies of R, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication, to due process and a judgment based on the facts of law. Now, last night we went over her lawsuit and there was a lot of different things. She described a lot of different things. Let me see if I can find that lawsuit, y'all, and pull it up. Let me get out of this full screen. At this point, it's almost like my computer might crash with all of these different
Everything open.
I mean, let's see. Let's share this tab. All right, so this is a copy of the lawsuit that we read last night. And I wanted to go down real quickly because it's 14 pages.
Mhm.
duh, 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 duh. She describes how they met. They met at a gym. He says immediately he wanted her to sign a NDA form, and she refused. And so he kind of gave up on doing that. And we also talked about, because there was an incident where she talked about that he invited over her home to his home And he opened the door for her. She comes in. She says he doesn't say anything. He doesn't greet her. He doesn't say any of these things. And then immediately they go upstairs and she's in the bedroom. And what I told the ladies last night is, at that point, you already know it's a booty call.
Right.
Now she went upstairs, she went to the bedroom, he went into the bathroom. She claims she didn't know what to do. Ladies, I have said this before. Society trains you to be accommodating, with your time, accommodating with your body, accommodating with your services. It teaches you to be accommodating. However, you still have a fight or flight sense. Once your spidey senses start to tingle, do not disregard them. At that point, while he was in the bathroom doing whatever it was that he was doing,
He was washing up what
you
Perlene should have did.
you you had the ability to run. If that was something that made you uncomfortable, you had the ability to go out of
Get
that
up out of
home.
it, yeah.
And again, if he had a gate and he wouldn't let you couldn't get out of the gate, you sit in your car with your windows rolled up, with your phone in your hand, and have dialed 911. And you tell him, if you don't open this gate, I'm gonna press this extra one, and then there's gonna be some problems. He was
Right.
gonna open the gate. Okay. But there's just a lot of different things that she talks about in here, and that he flies into an anger. And then he tells her, and there is this particular phrase.
Was it a choke? Because
Uh,
I haven't read it yet.
let me see. Hold on, just because I read it with this other lady's. I'm going to ruin you. Yeah, I'm gonna make it so no other man would want her. That is the particular phrase she used in her lawsuit. And also, people, there are two lawsuits. We have this lawsuit from the quote Jane Doe, but we also have another lawsuit from a lady named Michelle. That is in New York. So, and her wording is similar, because I read that wording in hers. I'm not going to go over or read over all of Michelle's, because hers is like 45 pages. I've gone over Jane Doe's, Tony Busby's client. That's how I'm gonna put it. We've gone over Tony Busby's client thing last night. So I'm not gonna go over them. But also, there are different in the lawsuit filed by Michelle. She's got a lot of different exhibits going on here. And when
She
I look
probably
through them,
was with him longer.
yeah, but most of it's coming from, it's like a reports, like written articles from news place. But then she pulled up this one. I'm gonna read the thing, but I do want to go over this one really quick. She pulled up. Now, when we talk about things, I also want to talk about patterns, but there is an article that was pulled up from August 6, 2004 from the
Right.
Associated Press. And it says here, Shannon Sharpe appeared. I'm sorry, y'all. Says here, this is the article. This is part of her exhibit that the first Michelle is entering into her evidence, or attached as her exhibits. Sharpe charged with misdemeanor battery. Shannon Sharpe appeared in court Friday on misdemeanor simple battery charges for removing the mother of one of his children from his home. And I think I remember that. Now, the way she has this, it's not, the whole article seems to be removed. Okay. His attorney, Craig Gillian, said Sharpe asked Evans to leave the house at least twice. Then Mr. Sharpe was very appropriately and lawfully simply picked her up and gently put her outside of his home. Police came to the home at the time of the altercation and interviewed Sharpe and Evans, but left without making an arrest. Gillian said court documents indicate that Evans filed charges July 13, 2 weeks later, which is when he turned himself in and posted a $1,000 bond. Atlanta police could not locate the records in the case. Neither Evans' attorney in the criminal matter, Charles Mather, nor her attorney in the civil matter, Joyce Glucksmith, immediately returned telephone. Sharpe's case was rescheduled to to Wednesday. I'm sorry. So I don't know what the the disposition of that case was, but she
Mhm.
attached it to her thing. Now, all that is to say that there sounds like that there might be a pattern.
I don't like that. That's not, to me, that's not a pattern. You in my house, right? I told you to leave twice. I don't even know why I should be called to the police or whatever. If you in my house, regardless you the mother of my kid or not, and I tell you to leave and you don't leave, I should have the right to, I hate to say it, forcefully remove you from my
Okay.
home.
So
That's
here
what I
we
think, man or woman. I don't,
so here we have another report. This is from the Westward, and I think it was written on September 15th, 2010.
So these are
Shannon,
all the, I'm sorry, Pam. These are all the documents she's presenting
yes, these are the
as
documents that she is presenting because I wanted to I want to go over the ones because most of them are just like I said, they're articles from different publications, and some of them are like things that he's done or said on ESPN that you know how Shannon speaks.
yeah.
Yeah, so it says Shannon Sharpe has long been a favorite of Bronco fans, a former record-setting tight end turned broadcaster who is that Denverites have
Denver
long felt
Knights. Yeah.
deserved to be in the NFL Hall of Fame, but his road to Canton may have gotten longer with him taking a temporary leave from CBS after a restraining order alleging forced
Mm,
sex threats were made. The restraining order was broken This restraining order story was broken on the blog Sports by Brooks, which obtained the following documents from Fulton County Court in the Atlanta area. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. Something about there is no way in the world that I'm gonna be trying to do anything over there in Fulton County. Because, honey, they listen to your records, they will arrest you. They listen to your telephone calls, they will arrest you. Baby, your taxes not up, they're going to
yeah.
arrest you. They find every little reason. Okay, as seen in the highlighted section at the bottom of the first page above, the document filed by a woman named Michelle Bundy maintains that Sharp forced plaintiff to have sex with her. He repeatedly calls and threatens her life. Uh, and I'm thinking that this is the same person. Other seemingly unfounded reports about Sharp and women have popped up now again over the years. So I believe this is the same one, and they're not showing the information that I need to see. So
Mm.
this sounds like the same person because it
By a woman
sounds like
named
the same
Michelle
person,
Bundy. Man.
but
We have to.
the name on
Yeah.
the second complaint is Evans.
Is Michelle Evans?
Is Michelle Evans. So
Maybe he just
that's
like Michelle's.
I think so too because if you keep the same name, then you don't have to worry about calling the wrong name.
He just got the Michelle's.
Yeah, you keep the same name. Then because I bet you this lady that's filing now, I bet you her middle name might be Michelle.
Might be Michelle.
We never know. But I do want to go over. Let me share this tab. Okay. Before we do that, let me let you all listen to Shannon Sharpe himself.
Colleagues, I want to speak to you directly.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Can you see it? That's the question.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets Black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say,
Wow.
just like I always do. I love all you guys.
Hey, Blue, you got somebody out here trying to Pimp you out.
My family, friends.
It'd be like that sometimes. It's not my
Blue.
first time. It'd be like
Shoot, dang, Blue. Hey, and that's the money tongue.
I
Oh.
see.
So here's the thing, because I listened to what he said. He said it's a 30-second tape, but it's supposed to be 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Who said it was supposed to be 10 minutes, or did I miss something?
He said it.
What I'm saying is they know that it's a doctored tape. Does he have a copy?
No.
Or he,
because I was watching lead attorney, shout out lead attorney. I was watching him a little bit earlier today.
okay.
And he was talking about how they normally do in me, because from what I understand, they've been in mediation for this for 6 weeks. And lead attorney was like, if you know you're gonna win the case, you don't even do the mediation. You come in there, you sign the book to show that you was, there, and you leave, because you like, we don't need to mediate. If Shannon Sharpe, he was saying that if Shannon Sharpe really had the evidence or knew anything, that we wouldn't need it, not for 6 weeks. 6 weeks worth of what we mediating for 6 weeks. And he offered the money, whatever. And he was like, he probably only offered her like between 3 to 5 million. And she turned it down because Tony Busby gonna get 2 out of that. I can't, you know what I'm saying? And depending on where they at, 1.5 million or 2 million ain't doing nothing for it. Ain't life-changing money. Not 2 million ain't life-changing money no more. So, to go through all of this and then have Tony Busby get 2.5, I only got 2. I got to pay the taxes on and stuff like that. He was like, so that's why they're going for the 50, is because Tony Busby got to get paid. She got to get some life-changing money, and he ain't willing to go through that. But he was talking about how they probably press play on the computer, turn the computer, slid it over to him, and let him watch it, because he said he didn't get access. And Tony Busby's come back saying, yeah, you did have access. We showed you the video. Now, what we put out is going to be 30 seconds, but we got this video. So he don't have the video.
Got you. So they're saying that his access is that they showed it to him.
They showed it to him. Mm-hmm.
Got you. Here is my question for that. Even if the party that lost the lawsuit,
okay,
has to pay the legal fees, all of the attorney legal fees, the attorney still gets a cut of the
the attorney still get a cut. Yep. And that's another thing too. He was saying a lot of people like, okay, Pam, I'll pay Pam, but I ain't paying Blue. Blue just came in here and sat down at this mediation for 2 days, and now he's supposed to be getting 2. Like, no.
Yeah, that's why that's why I was trying to figure out, because that doesn't seem worth for it doesn't seem worth the fact that you're going to have to put yourself out here, that the attorney, because that's the winners. The attorneys are the winners, because they're going to get paid, and then plus they're going to get a portion of your law. I thought that if you paid their fees, that was it. But then you also have to pay them a percentage. And I wonder how
they get the percentage off the win. Think of like insurance companies, right? You when that insurance company sues the other insurance company, they get paid, they get a piece of your profit from the lawsuit. You see what I'm saying? So Tony Busby, I think, would get I want to say like I said, if it was 5 million, he'll see 2. He'll see 2 million of that. Okay. So that's just how it is.
Well, that is that's all interesting to me, because it seems like if I pay your if they pay your attorney's fee, your percentage should go down considerably, because you're that's double, triple pay in my head.
Yeah. Well, I think it also so like if you lose in court, you go to court, it depends on the court, because now the court is involved. Because you can, like with the mediation, you can mediate, and that's just between you and the girl and that attorney. But once it goes to court, the court is involved. Now that's where what you're talking about. Now you're paying court fees on top of lawyer and losing the case. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha. All right, people. Those of you all that are here, because according to what my thing said, there's 127 of you all. Most of you all are coming from Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. Make sure Twitter X. Make sure you hit that heart button. so that that helps with the engagement. And those of you all that are watching me, those that are watching on Blue's channel, make sure you do that thumbs up. Those are watching me on my YouTube channel, make sure you do that thumbs up. If you're watching me on Twitch, I don't really know what y'all do over there, but do it.
Do
Somebody said the wallet, somebody said whatever it is you all do over there, do that for me, just so that you can help my engagement. I really do appreciate you all watching. But what I want to do right now, because we've lit, so far we have gone over uh some pieces of no, we've gone over the audio.
hmm
We've gone over the statement by the attorney, and we've heard from Shannon Sharpe that this is a shakedown.
Right.
What I want to do right now is to read to you all. We're going to go over real quick. We're not going to go over the whole lawsuit. I do want to go over what this woman is suing Shannon Sharpe for in New York. Okay. So let me share my screen and we'll go over this particular lawsuit really quick. Here we go. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
There, we make it a little bit bigger. So this is in the state of New York. This is a state of New York case. This right here, what we're reading, is the Second Amendment complaint. This is Michelle Evans, the plaintiff, against Shannon Sharpe, the defendant. And the Second Amendment complaint of plaintiff Michelle Evans respectfully shows and alleges as follows. She is suing for defamation, libel, slander of a woman, intentional infliction of emotional distress,
Negligent.
thank you, infliction of emotional distress. Y'all know when sometimes you see these words, because I know the word, but every now
Yeah.
and then some words will not fly off the tongue.
Can we pause right there?
Sure.
I think this is that, Michelle, because look at what she's suing for: defamation, libel, slander of a woman, intentional infliction, emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress. Nothing on there saying like assault or anything like that. This would come from if a video leaked or
Right.
like that audio that came out, and that probably made her, I don't know if it's defamation or libel, but I can see the emotional distress and things like that. People asking, coming up, hey, is that you on the video? Yeah, I seen you with Shannon. He was putting it down. He wanted you to spread them cheeks like in the you know what I'm saying? Like, so I can see that. But I wonder if this is the same Michelle and maybe she got married, because that could be another thing too. Maybe at the time,
Could be.
is she married? And this is
Could
what's
be.
making a lot of things go, But I'm just glad that none of that says assault. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, if this is that same lady, I don't know why she's putting those things into the amendment, the showing the 2004 incident and all of that other stuff.
I'm wondering.
You're not even
I'm wondering if
assault
that's
or
her.
right.
I'm wondering if she's just showing that this is a pattern. However, again, I just stay on this thing of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people, because I had one young lady get real upset with me when I said this in regards to the Jonathan Majors case. Even in regards to this, the 2004 or the 2010 situation happened in Atlanta. You've moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have at least 12 states between you.
Right.
And I don't understand, if you've done that, why do I'm not
Why go back? Why run
I'm
back?
not understanding that. And I don't want to sound insensitive, but that was the same thing I thought about with Jonathan Majors. By the time you had a whole ocean between you, you were safe. Why did you come over this way?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't discount what you go through, but I also want some of us to think about the choices that we make going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've said this, I mentor a lot of young women, and I say this all the time. Once you see and feel that there's something that's not right, then something is not right for you. It may be right for somebody else, but something is not right at that time. And it's better to be wrong than it is to be right. And then then you're physically and sexually and all these types of things of abuse are going on. So let's hear what we're going on. So her jurisdiction is in New York. We won't read that. Let me see. It says here, defendant is employed by ESPN in New York. By nature of his employment, defendant appears on air at ESPN studios in Lower Manhattan, requiring him to at least be a part-time resident of New York. Defendant has major ties to New York and garners significant income from his employment at ESPN. Is he currently employed at ESPN right now?
Yeah, currently he is employed with because he does First Take with Stephen A. So yeah.
Thank you. So we're identifying the parties. They talk about his domicile. So here's the background information. We're going to read her background information. It says, in the month of September of 2010, the presence of the defendant was noted within my residential abode. At that juncture, we had been engaged in an intimate relationship of considerable duration, nearing a decade. A dispute had arisen, provoked by my recent and unsettling revelation that Shannon had clandestinely introduced another woman into his domicile, a fact which he had deliberately concealed from me. Amidst this contentious exchange, Shannon expressed a desire to engage in sexual relations. My response was unequivocally negative, articulated thusly: no, because you gave it to someone else. Notwithstanding my clear objection, the defendant proceeded to forcefully subdue me, compelling me to my knees and subsequently engaging in a non-consensual oral penetration. Despite my protest, he persisted in this violation, consumed by fear and the perplexing nature of his action, I harbored a deep-seated apprehension that resistance would precipitate further detrimental outcomes. Thereafter, Shannon's coercion escalated as he maneuvered me onto the bed and achieved non-consensual vaginal penetration, all while proclaiming his intent to make it so no other man would want me. And that was something that's the same thing that we read last night on the for the other lawsuit that's by Tony Busby's client. These same wording is the same wording that they used over there. Don't know how.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
You think Tony Busby has access to this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any lawyer. Yeah, he does. And I will tell you too, in the lawsuit that I read last night, he mentions he kept referring to this lawsuit.
Tony Busby is a weasel, man.
Yeah,
he's a weasel. Because it seems like to me, he looked at this and said, that right there, we can take that and put it in our lawsuit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and Tracy makes a good point. These are civil cases, not criminal. Correct. Also, I want to make note too, because I do want to be we're talking about this we're talking about this. The charges that Tony Busby clients are filing right now in civil, the statutes of limitations for her to file a criminal charge is still active. She still has time because their last encounter was January 2nd, 2025. So she's still within that window of filing charges.
What it is, a year, right? They put it down to a year. Was it a year?
They just stopped fooling with each other in January.
No, I mean that law that allows the how long you have until you can file a criminal.
I think so, but now he's got one in New York, and Tony Busby's client is in Nevada. So she still has time. It hasn't been a year. It hasn't even been 2 or 3 months. So she can.
So I'm sorry, Pam. To get back to this case, why is she not suing for it? It seemed like she's making it seem like she was orally raped and about to be vaginally raped. Assaulted. Let me use that. Orally assaulted and about to be vaginally assaulted. And if it's any ladies in the chat, ladies, if somebody is about to force their penis down you, bite them, please. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, you bite that, you can run out of the house. He will not come running after you. I'm just gonna let you know right now. bite it, take this, grab it, rip that, be out of there, be gone. All right, because I just when I not saying that it didn't happen, but when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, there ain't no way somebody can, you know what I'm saying? That's you finna force yourself into a meat grinder. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's basically what your mouth is. You finna force. Come on, ladies. Come on. Do if and like I said, I'm not being insensitive. I'm just throwing that out there. Get him off of you. If that's not what you want, get him or bite the hell out that shit and get gone. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Yes, because that was mentioned by the informant media in the chat. She has teeth. The teeth. All right. I was bereft of understanding as to his meaning, yet acutely aware that my voice dissent had been wantonly disregarded.
I love
Again, this lady is a journalist, so she's going to use all the big flowery words. In the aftermath of these heinous acts, Shannon's comportment took a more menacing turn.
I guess his demeanor. Got to be demeanor.
Behavior bearing, he displayed the comportment expected of the rightful. His behavior.
His behavior.
Okay. I don't know nothing about all this.
Use them words, lady. Use them.
I'm telling you, you better use the words. And I've been, thank goodness for Google that I can look it up. He levied threats of ruin, declaring that any attempt on my part to disclose his transgressions would be met with a comprehensive campaign to use everyone I know to destroy you. Given Shannon's extensive acquaintances, the gravity of this threat loomed large, engendering an intensified state of fear within me. In response to his unrelenting harassment, which persisted even during my hours of employment, I sought and obtained judicial relief in the form of a protective order, and that's Exhibit KK. This legal safeguard was subsequently relinquished when the defendant engaged in an act of doxing, maliciously exposing my personal address through court documents. The consequent media exposure engendered a profound concern for the safety of both myself and my kin. It is with this filing that I break my silence regarding these matters, having heretofore, she said heretofore, refrained from filing a formal police report. The media narrative that emerged was rife with defamatory commentary, assailing my professional reputation, with particular emphasis on my prior collaborative endeavors with the defendant, as delineated in Exhibit Y. Moreover, the allegations fabricated intimate acquaintance, Michelle. See, he done got us Michelle Bundy, a Michelle Evans, and a Michelle Beisner. See, you get the same name.
I don't even know
that many Michelles.
Yeah, finding all these damn Michelles, man. So that's 3 Michelles. You're right. That's 3 Michelles.
That's 3 Michelles.
That is wow.
That is 3 Michelles. I told you, you get the same woman with the same name. You ain't got to call the wrong one. You like Michelle. You got to call the wrong one. Michelle Beisner, and that's just a little ha ha he he to lighten the levity, because this is just with whom I had a professional engagement as evidence in Exhibit F, were compounded by fabrications from Thane Davis, a vehement supporter of the defendant and the Denver Broncos, animated by personal grievances. These accusations must be contemplated within the context of the defendant's articulated threat to wield his connections as instruments of my destruction. Despite the portrayal of my living circumstances by the media as destitute, I was in fact the proprietor of a residence situated on 3 acres in the state of Georgia, and I maintained a leased dwelling in proximity to my place of employment. In 2014, the defendant directed his steps toward the premise of my then employer, Turner Broadcasting. Why can't we say in 2014 the defendant went to my place of employment, but he directed his
He
steps
directed
toward the
his steps.
premises of my then employer, Turner Broadcasting. Herein, he made an appearance on the CNN broadcast State of the Union, referred to Exhibit 1 for transcript is furnished by CNN. And CNN is owned by Turner Broadcasting. It was at that time.
At that time, yeah.
His discourse thereon encompassed the issue of domestic violence within the ranks of the National Football League, ranks of National Football League players. During this segment, the program's moderator made a cursory reference to Shannon's historical entanglements with domestic violence allegation, noting that he had a case that was completely dropped. Regrettably, this account omitted the critical detail that it was I who had rescinded the order. Whilst my identity was not directly invoked, the aforementioned appearance precipitated a ripple effect, inspiring the nationally televised Saturday Night Live to concoct a satirical vignette predicated upon Shannon's interview on the State of the Union, as evidenced by Exhibit H. This skit alluded to his legal predicaments dating back to 2010, which were indisputably connected to our judicial encounter. I feel real stupid reading these things. I feel like I can't string my words.
You got to go back. Got to go back to school to read this stuff,
baby. Good gosh! At that period, my professional responsibilities entailed the dissemination of CNN's video content on their official YouTube channel. It was through the execution of these duties that I became cognizant of Shannon's televised discussion. The discovery was, to articulate it mildly, perturbing. In close temporal proximity to this event, my tenure at Turner Broadcasting was abruptly terminated under the guise of a layoff, post which I have been subjected to prolonged unemployment, bereft of the capacity to secure gainful employment. Bless her heart. Since the occasion of Shannon's CNN interview. So basically what she's saying is she was dating him. They were in New York. She left New York. She went down to the Atlanta area. She got a job with CNN while she was working with CNN. Shannon bebopped into her job, showed up at her job, did an interview at her job in regards to domestic violence and the medical thing. Basically how Shannon was speaking, it made it seem like he was talking about her. Her colleagues had some issue. Her bosses had some issue. And subsequently, she was fired in regards to all of this issues in Shannon Sharpe. Is that what that's what it seems? That's what you're getting, Blue? Or am I just overreaching?
No, a little bit. It seems like that. Shannon came in and spoke about domestic violence within the NFL players. I don't know how, because they said that they asked him about a thing that he had ongoing, a case he had ongoing, and it was dropped. And she said that I'm the one who dropped it. So I guess they knew it was her. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. Did they know you were the one who had the case against Shannon Sharpe? And maybe that's the reason why they brought him on. Or you know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of weird for them to bring that up, right? And then after that, you get fired. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe Shannon did say, yeah, she's the one. Y'all
what was going on in 2014? That didn't have anything to do with, because I remember there was
was it Ray Rice?
Ray Rice. There was a spat of different things where we saw a lot of domestic. Because I remember, is that Ray Rice where the woman his wife got on television because his job was almost at jeopardy at one point?
Did she get on television?
Yeah, somebody got on television.
She got on television. Because the video was old. They were married. By the time the video came out, they were married and everything. But I think she did get on TV and say, spoke up for him and everything like that. But you heard about the video, but you didn't see it. And then when they showed the video, it was like, oh yeah, nah, he got to go. You know what I'm saying? And that made the NFL look at players and domestic violence in a different light. Rules was changed. The money to pay out money and all types of stuff like that, all of that was changed. So I think that should have been Ray Rice, and then you had Deshaun Watson
Deshaun Watson. And footnote, Deshaun Watson was sued by Tony Busby too, wasn't
Tony
he?
Busby. Yep. Hmm.
Man, Tony Busby is everywhere, isn't it?
Everywhere.
So she goes on to continue that in 2015, I entered into the sacred bonds of matrimony. Subsequent to this union, it became my woeful burden to endure acts of domestic violence of a grievous nature perpetrated by my spouse. To rationalize his reprehensible conduct, he frequently invoked the name of the defendant. In
What?
2017, I endeavored a flight from the oppressive clutches of my husband, and an attempt that culminated disastrously. In the midst of my effort to flee, he leaped upon the conveyance, resulting in a vehicular mishap wherein he sustained injuries. The authorities thereafter levied charges of assault against me. Owing to the jurisdiction of New York's legislative framework, which does not recognize the principle of self defense, I was compelled to enter into a plea agreement. Subsequent to this, I was afforded a mitigated sentence pursuant to the Merits of Domestic Violence Survivors Justice Act, a clemency granted post a judicial proceeding in which I demonstrated the extent of my husband's maltreatment, Exhibit X. In an attempt to exasperate the severity of my judicial sentencing, the defendant proffered not merely one, but a pair of sworn affidavits replete with falsities to the presiding court. The adjudicatory, thank you,
Judicatory.
thank you, process, which was protracted well into the year 2022, an extension necessitated by the encumbrances of the COVID-19 pandemic, among other delaying factors. I was coerced to take this plea by my lawyer, who did not disclose an existing conflict of interest in regards to the defendant, neither to the court nor to the plaintiff as required. In addition, the plaintiff was threatened by the presiding Assistant District Attorney Jesse Matthews that if she testified at the grand jury hearing, he would not take the domestic violence into account. Plaintiff's lawyer then refused to allow plaintiffs to testify. Exhibit QQ. The plaintiff may have never been indicted had she had been given the chance to testify.
I got a question. So
Sure.
she gets married, moves to, I guess she moved to New York to get married. The person she married is invoking Shannon's name while whooping up on her. I'm not understanding that.
Correct.
Right? She
Correct.
leaves. He gets into a car accident. Domestic violence is now put on his back. They show up to court. Shannon supplies false affidavits against her.
Mm-mm. She gets married. He's whooping up on her. And while he's whooping up on her, he's invoking Shannon's name, and Shannon, I guess, saying that, if Shannon can do it, I can do it. She tries to flee. As she flees from him, he seems like what she says is that he jumped on the car and she ran him over, basically. That's what I got from it.
Oh, so it's domestic violence on her part.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. She let me go back. I endeavored a flight from the oppressive clutches of my husband, an attempt that culminated disastrously. In the midst of my effort to flee, he leapt upon the conveyance.
Why didn't she just say car? Oh, why you?
Resulting in a vehicular mishap where he sustained injuries. So that's
okay. I see it. Levy charges against me. Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. She was trying to leave. He wasn't trying to let her leave. She got into the car. He was dragging and holding on to the car, holding on to the door. She sped off. When she sped off, he
flew off
hard or flew off or whatever.
But I'm still tripping on.
Hold on.
What the hell Shannon has to do with?
The incident happened in the elevator.
Yeah. That's Ray Rice.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about this. I was like, no, because how did it happen in the elevator and then there's a vehicle? Okay, I'm sorry, Tracy. I saw that and I got excited.
But you see what I'm saying? Why is Shannon, or even how does Shannon even know about what's going on in her personal life?
we'll continue to read on
Okay, because that's
because
why I'm
I don't.
like,
Yeah, this
what?
is just because I think what's happening here. She's trying to explain that she has a domestic mileage charge against herself.
Mm.
So she's trying to explain that, and I guess because
She's trying to clean it up. She's trying
yeah,
to
and
clean
I
it up.
guess because she's very flowery with her words, she wants to show that her husband even invokes his name as to why he's able to do what she's going to do. Andre.
Heretofore.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. In an attempt to exasperate the severity of my judicial sentencing, the defendant proffered not merely one, but a pair of sworn affidavits replete with falsities to the presiding court.
Okay,
The,
okay. I'm
the
sorry.
adjudicatory process, which was protracted well into the year 2022, an extension necessitated. Okay, we read that.
Yeah, hold on, because that's important. Or I got a question. When she says the defendant, is she referring to Shannon or is she referring? No, because she would be the defendant, so she got to be referring to Shannon.
She got to be referring to Shannon because in the domestic violence, she would have been the defendant.
Right, she would have been the
So in
defendant.
other
So
words, Shannon must have presented some evidence that she was violent or she was something like that.
I wonder why Shannon even was in who. I guess you know what, if
It depends on again, you know what it depends on their social circles. Did
yeah,
she marry somebody within their social circles that knew Shannon? I don't know exactly who she married and who this person
right.
is, but again, I
But
don't know.
you see what I'm getting at? Like it's
Yeah,
just that's so weird
that is
for
very weird.
somebody who you dealt with, who you got away from. You know, like y'all wasn't even married. Y'all was just in a tryst, so to speak. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You go get married, and now Shannon is on the lips of your husband. Why is Shannon on the lips of your husband? Other than, oh, I know Shannon Sharpe, who was a tight end for the Denver Broncos.
Right. I don't know. I
That's
don't know.
unless
And
you know
see, it's
that's weird.
confusing because she's not using names. And so
Yeah.
she's talking about her case and another case, and it's getting confusing. I think in this point they should have used names so that
Mm-hmm.
they're too flowery for me because
Heretofore.
thank heretofore. You're right. They're too flowery for me, child. Um In an attempt to exacerbate the severity of my judicial sentencing, the defendant proffered not merely one, but a pair of sworn affidavits replete with falsities to the presiding court. And okay, I read that.
Yeah, we read that already.
Okay. And I read this too about her being I was coerced to take this plea by my lawyer who did not disclose an existing conflict of interest in regards to the defendant. So she's saying that her lawyer had some dealings with Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why she would be involved in any because she said it's a conflict of interest. So was this lawyer representing Shannon Sharpe on something?
Possibly.
And how are you so close to like you right? If your social circle is that small to where anything that you do is now connected to Shannon Sharpe, that's you need to get away from wherever you at. That's the only thing I can say. That's
I don't it's this is we're gonna continue. She mentions she names the district attorney Justin Matthews just as clear. Okay, hold on. In addition to the plaintiff, in addition, the plaintiff was threatened by the presiding assistant district attorney, Jesse Matthews, that if she testified at the grand jury hearing, he would not take the domestic violence into account. Plaintiff's lawyer then refused to allow plaintiff to testify. Exhibit QQ. Okay, so all of this is confusing to me. So
yeah.
let's
Now
go
she's
here.
saying the plaintiff.
Yeah, names would have been more appropriate if you're going to do all of that. In January of 2023, the defendant, this is Shannon Sharpe,
Shannon Sharpe, yeah.
caused a scene at an NBA Lakers game and got into a heated argument with some of the players.
Yeah, I remember that. That was John Morant. I want to say it was John Morant.
That's when he was wearing that blue sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Afterwards, the defendant was quoted by ESPN. They didn't want this smoke, Dave. They do all of that talking and jockeying, and I ain't about that jockeying. It started with Dylan Brooks. I said he was too small to guard LeBron. He said, F me, and I said, F you back. He started to come at me, and I said, you don't want these problems. And then Ja came out of nowhere talking. He definitely didn't want these problems. Then the dad came, and he obviously didn't want no problems, but I wanted anything they had. Don't let these fools fool you now. The defendant did this on national television in front of children present, not caring about anybody but himself. Imagine what he would be willing to do behind closed doors with nobody watching. The defendant
That's
had, go ahead.
that don't mean that that's just man talk. I hate to say it, that's just beating on your chest. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. That to me, when I hear something like that, I don't take that as threaded. And I guess because I'm a man too. Maybe a woman hearing something like that, is like, oh, it's some violence about to happen. I hear that, I'm like, man, shut up, go sit down, old man. You gonna talk. You talk like that. You to bolster your position. I'm Shannon Sharpe. I'm 50 and I can still bench 300 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like that don't mean nothing to me in my eyes. But I get it. I get it.
The defendant has inaugurated a podcasting conduit in the digital. Girl, just say he got a podcast on YouTube. Okay. The defendant has inaugurated a podcasting conduit on the digital visual sharing platform known as YouTube, denominated Nightcap. In an episode recently promulgated, the defendant, whilst reflecting upon interactions with an undisclosed female, conceded on the recorded, I just couldn't leave her alone. She goes, Shannon, why can't you leave me alone? Exhibit DD at 12 seconds, I guess. Thereafter, the defendant elected to articulate a rejoinder, employing a maxim renowned for its attribution to a pantheon of distinguished writers and philosophers.
What?
Thereafter, the defendant elected to articulate a rejoinder, employing a maxim renowned for its attribution to a pantheon of distinguished writers and philosophers. Such an unequivocal concession by the defendant dovetails precisely with the averments proffered by the plaintiff as set forth in the instant complaint.
I don't know what none of that meant. None of that means nothing. That's a whole bunch of words.
Salad.
The defendant elected to articulate a rejoin. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a Caesar salad with extra dressing right here.
There
I don't
it
know
is.
exactly what she said or she meant, and I'm not fixing to go to Google to ask what this means.
We're on the next.
No, I'm contemplating whether or not to go to Google and ask them what this paragraph means. So let's continue.
Unequivocal concession by the defendant.
Pursuant to another dissemination of Nightcap, see Exhibit CC at 119, the defendant is captured on video declaring, don't ask me about none of my exes because I'm going to tell you they're great. This revelation by the defendant effectively obliterates any remaining vestige of uncertainty with regard to the character and extent of the interactions by the plaintiff in regard to defendant as alleged here. Okay, you all, let me just tell you real quick. I am not fixing to read all of this stuff because it's too much. Let's read the causes of action. She's got causes of actions include libel, slander, defamation, slander of a woman, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional
let's see
distress.
her break this down because I don't know what she talked about.
I don't know what she was talking about up there. All right. So plaintiff hereby repeats and realleges each allegation contained in paragraphs 1 through 20 under the heading background as fully set forth herein. So she says, defendant wrote affidavit stating the following false allegations, but not limited to. Okay, these are the false allegations that Ms. Evans stalked and harassed him between March 2010 to October 2021. In 2010, when I refused to go to Ms. Evans' apartment, she threatened me and said I would regret it. Number 3, Ms. Evans called the police and falsely accused me of art. Oh, great. She also called my place of employment and made the same false allegations. The statement proffered by the defendant within the sworn affidavits duly notarized were presented as factual attestations rather than subjective opinions. Such statements are categorically defamatory and are tantamount to malicious falsehoods, as is substantiated by the exhibits marked B, C, and Z. It is acknowledged that I initiated contact with the defendant from the Rikers Islands Correctional Facility.
I got a question. Did
Mhm.
she lose this case?
What she's talking about right now?
Yeah, because she's saying that he came and supplied those affidavits. Those affidavits go into discovery and become evidence, correct?
Yes, I think she's if 1 through 20, paragraph 1 through 20, which here are two, there are, and all this other stuff. If I'm gathering correctly, she's saying that he provided these affidavits in her domestic violence case,
Right.
and he signed it, and he knew that they were patently false.
Right. What I'm getting at is, if she lost, that means that evidence is law. If you get what I'm saying. So if she lost, how can you sue me for defamation when you lost? The case was lost. Now, if you won the case, I think then you can go back and say, Pam lied on me. I'm finna, everybody who got up on that and lied, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get them. But losing the case, I don't know how you can come back for defamation because you lost the case. You see what I'm saying? Like all the evidence, the preponderance heretofore shows that you lost this case. So I don't know how you come back for defamation. That's if she did lose. Now, if she won, rock on.
Rock on. The statements proffered by the defendant within the sworn affidavit. Okay, wait, did I read that? Such statements are categorically defamatory and blah, blah, blah. It is acknowledged that I initiated contact with the defendant from Rikers Islands Correctional Facility. So you were in jail. The purpose of this communication was to issue a clear and unambiguous caution to the defendant that should he perpetuate falsehoods, I would initiate civil proceedings in response. I expressly communicated the potential legal consequences of his action. And you called from Rikers, so that means it's recorded.
Mm-hmm.
The defendant has misrepresented the substance of our discussions, suggesting an interpretation that diverges from reality. He was fully cognizant of the identity of the caller, as standard protocol of the correctional institution requires the disclosure of the inmate's identity to the call recipient, with an additional provision enabling the recipient to refuse further communications if they so choose. Furthermore, my legal counsel has publicly declared that she had expressly directed me to make contact with the defendant.
Who is she? It's a lot of people coming in and out. Is she saying my legal counsel has publicly declared that she has expressly?
She's basically said her lawyer told her to call him.
Okay, so the she is the lawyer. Okay, because all these words, like just say my lawyer told me to call Shannon.
That's how you get confused in here. The defendant engaged in conduct that suggested an attempt to evade direct communication by feigning unavailability at his known telephone number when I endeavored to reach him on behalf of my attorney.
But he don't have to take your call, girl.
He don't have to take your call.
He do not have to take your call. What?
This is why I'm laughing. This is why I'm laughing, y'all. This says the defendant engaged in conduct that suggested an attempt to evade direct communication by feigning unavailability at his known telephone number when I endeavored to reach him on behalf of my attorney. How could we say that without having to use those 25 words?
I tried to call him at his house, and he said he would. Whoever answered the phone kept saying he was not available. Real easy. No, Mr. YouTube 92. This is a different. This isn't the OnlyFans girl. This is a different case that
this
Pam
is a different case.
Up. So he has two cases pending as of right now.
Same time. Cases. Yeah. I'm scared to read the rest. I swear I am. In pursuit of clarity, I procured a detailed report from whitepages.com pertinent to the defendant's telephone number as evidenced by Exhibit J. Upon presenting this information to the defendant, I inquired as to the necessity for contentious interaction in every exchange. The defendant then endeavored to cast my actions in a malign light, implying malevolent intent on my part, as documented on Exhibit B. Okay.
I don't
So
think she
this is
wants
how
to
I
say-
understand this. You're in jail. You're
Right.
calling him to tell him to that the affidavit that he sent was wrong, and if he continues to send affidavits, you're going to sue him. But you keep calling him, but
Which
then
seems like you've proven his point of harassment, which is what he wrote down in the statements. You harass.
right. The defendant then endeavored to cast my actions in a malign light, implying malevolent intent on my part as documented. So basically, but you're calling from jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's flip it so that people can understand this. This will be like Tory Lanez calling Meg the Stallion, claiming that what happened?
Yeah, something fell.
Oh, okay. Look, we don't even live in the same place, but
I
I was
know.
about to run. Whew, I just saw you jump, and I was like, I'm finna go, and I know it's nothing rolling through here. So just basically, if you would think about Tory Lanez calling Megan Thee Stallion from jail, and saying that because you put me in jail or because of this because you've done all this, that I'm going to sue you civilly. I just want y'all to get into this mindset.
Right.
That's the first thing that I thought about when I saw this. It's like, even though I am cognizant and aware that Meg is suing Milagro,
Yeah,
and going on with that other stuff, but I'm just saying that's the
they
example.
didn't drop that.
Huh?
She didn't drop that. Didn't get dropped or settled
No.
already. It didn't.
No. Meg said Milagro is trying to get it dropped, but Meg is like, no. If it's up, then it's stuck.
If
Basically,
it's up, then it's stuck. Got it.
All
but
right.
yeah, this just sounds like you were doing exactly what he wrote in those affidavit statements that he sent to the whatever your case was.
Yeah. And I want you all to recognize that this was filed in New York County on 7/30/2024. So I am unaware at this point if this case is still active or not, but this is the case that was filed against him from New York. Okay.
So that's just a year old then, almost a year old. That's
almost.
June.
Yeah. While the defendant alleged that I transmitted
July. I'm sorry, July.
Just to him on a single day, such an event, if it did indeed transpire, must be understood in the context of the defendant's egregiously abusive behavior and his deliberate action designed to inflict emotional distress, as detailed in Exhibit T, U, and B and W. It is critical to underscore that defendant neither utilized available mechanisms to impede my messages, nor did he sever personal ties with me. Okay, we're gonna keep going to her next thing, because basically she's saying that he's not, because I'm. Let's continue. Hold on.
The defendant's rejoinder.
This is, yeah, because see, once I saw that word, you saw me move on. Let's get to
slander.
It says, I'm gonna read the last sentence, last paragraph of that whole situation of her libel. My reputation was damaged as defendant has my colleagues following him on Twitter. Also, Shannon, false statements were used against me in a sentencing hearing. My lawyer informed me that defendant damaged my case. I was subsequently sent to prison where I endured physical and emotional abuse.
There it is. So you lost that case. You can't come back and sue. What? I don't think like that's. Can Tory come back and sue Meg for? Let's say Meg lied on the stand. Can he come back and sue Meg? Or can you come back and sue anybody that you think lied? Woody can you know what I'm saying?
Would
People
that
like,
be that's perjury? Would that be under the purview of the state? Would the state be the one that's going to be able to pursue that case?
I
Pursue
would think,
the
yeah, I think so. I don't know how you can civilly come back and do that. I've this would be my first time hearing about somebody who lost the case, went to jail, and then want to come back and sue the witnesses or the people who supplied evidence. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, and I hate to say this, baby, you sent him 200 text messages. And she said, if I did that, that's because he would not, no. Cause of action of slander. The defendant, in a statement to the Assistant District Attorney, Jesse Matthew, acknowledged the existence of our past relationship, yet proceeded to tarnish my reputation with allegations of abuse, characterizing the behavior as coercively controlled. The defendant, an accusation that is both unfounded and defamatory. The assertion that I exercised controlling influence over Shannon is without basis. It was perplexing at the time to discern the rationale behind Mr. Matthews' allegations in a court of law that I was the cause of Shannon's suspension from his employment. This confusion was dispelled only upon my acquisition of Exhibit C, wherein I discovered Shannon's unfounded claim that I had initiated contact with his employer, a claim that is categorically false. More because you remember that article I read about Shannon being he was suspended.
Right.
Moreover, the defendant has lodged additional unsubstantiated allegations that I issued threats toward him. These allegations were falsely attributed to me by Mr. Matthews, stemming from an interview with the defendant, and are erroneously documented in Exhibit AA. The statement that I purportedly made to the defendant are as follows: if you don't come over here today, you're going to regret it. Threatened our child, moving to be close to him.
Wait, hold on. See, now I'm confused.
I'm confused too. I don't know
who we talking about right now. The statements that I purportedly made to the defendant are as follows. Which defendant? It can't be the husband, because the husband would be the plaintiff.
Yeah,
What? So this is Shannon.
The victim. Yeah, this has to
Statements
be
that I
Shannon.
made. If you don't come over here today, you're going to regret it. Threatened our child. So they got a kid together? Is this
This is Michelle. This is still Michelle.
So this got to be the other Michelle then, right? Because that Michelle was the baby mother who was forcibly removed from the home, right?
Is it that one? It must this must be that Michelle.
Moving to be close to him.
Additionally,
how many kids? Hold on. How many kids, Shannon? You keep reading. I need to look up how many kids Shannon Sharpe got.
He's got about 4. I think he does. I think he has about 4. Additionally, the defendant has insinuated with no factual basis that my relocation to New York was orchestrated with the intent of maintaining proximity to him. This insinuation is categorically false. Now, I'm going to stop right here because I don't. If you all listened to me yesterday when I read that lawsuit stated that she moved to Nevada. And she and Shannon moved to Nevada at the same time, but for different reasons. So, Tony Busby's client, this information right here is similar to the information there. So everybody's moving to the same place. Everybody seems to be moving to the same place with each other.
Right, which is weird. Unless they all in the same, if they all work in sports media, I guess would make sense. But
Urban Guru says it was up to her attorney at the time to discredit the opposition's witnesses during the trial. That's why you're the defense. That's why she was the defense attorney. She didn't do her job. What I mean, I don't see what's going on. You lost, like Blue says, you lost your case.
Mm-hmm.
And it says here, I think Shannon has 3 children, because I know he has a daughter that's getting married or is married.
He got 3 kids. So he's got Kayla Sharpe, who's the oldest. She's 32. Kiari Sharpe, 92. So that would make her about 32 as well. And then, did I miss one? Kaylee and Kayla. Kayla was born in 94. So all his kids are older in their 30s. So I don't know. And none of the mothers are named. There's an Erica Sharp. Blah, blah. So I don't know. I don't see no Michelle.
In
I'm
truth, I'm just gonna continue because
yeah.
she's talking a lot. In truth, my move to New York was professionally motivated, executed by my IMG Sports and Entertainment. By IMG Sports and Entertainment for the specific purpose of developing the website of Tiger Woods, a task aligned with my professional expertise and responsibilities. The
Oh, she
defendant
was
has
dealing with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. You know, Tiger was. Never mind. Go ahead. Keep reading. He got some issues too. So
he got a lot of issues. Shannon probably
could. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
not the Drake babies. The defendant has promulgated a spurious assertion that the plaintiff succumbed to irrationality upon his alleged declaration of a desire to terminate their romantic engagement. When I tell y'all, my head hurt right here from reading this stuff.
What
It
does he came to a spurious assertion that the plaintiff succumbed to irrational. Now
that help
she's talking about her husband now. Gotta be, because Shannon is the defendant. The plaintiff would have to be the husband, right? Shannon has promulgated spurious assertion that my husband succumbed to irrationality upon his alleged declaration of a desire to terminate their romantic engagement. It is common stratagem, one rooted in manipulation. Oh, even that don't make sense. I don't know.
we're moving on. For individuals to derogate another's mental stability, thereby sowing seeds of doubt and eschewing accountability for their conduct. This tactic serves to unjustly discredit and nullify the legitimate emotion, perspectives, or experiences of the other party, effectively stifling dissent or contestation. Evidence will show that the relationship between the defendant and the plaintiff was marked by validity with both parties. And so, in other words, whoever is this lawyer that crafted this, the defendant is Shannon Sharpe, and the plaintiff is Michelle.
In this part, okay,
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah. Because at first it sounded like first person. I'm not
Yeah,
sure who wrote this, but at the front part, that's why it wasn't making sense and it wasn't flowing right because of the fact they were talking as if it was first person.
yeah.
Now the lawyer is now talking defendant and plaintiff.
Of the actual case that we're reading right now. Okay, got it. Yeah, it's a lot. Don't let them write. Whoever wrote, don't write up no more cases.
You never again. This sounds like what's the name of that attorney Tyrone?
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like a very English major who
I don't even know if a judge would want to read this. This is just because they're a
it's not
judge
making
don't
any
mean
sense.
yeah, it's a lot. It's all over the place.
Yeah, because even up at the top, it would say the plaintiff
It's such a short,
Shannon, let's say
right?
the plaintiff Michelle
In
or
parentheses,
Michelle so and so, which will then be later known as the plaintiff,
yeah.
and the defense. Shannon Sharpe, will be later known as the defendant, so we'll know who we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This is not written very
Well,
well. And if this is an amended complaint, I'm quite sure that first complaint was hell to read. Okay, let's go. The defendant has promulgated a spurious assertion that the plaintiff succumbed to irrationality upon his alleged declaration of a desire to terminate their romantic engagement. It is a common stratagem, one rooted in manipulation for individuals to degrade another's mental stability, thereby sowing seeds of doubt and eschewing accountability for their conduct. This tactic serves to unjustly discredit and nullify the legitimate emotions, perspectives, or experiences of the other party, effectively stifling dissent on contestation. Evidence will show that the relationship between the defendant and the plaintiffs was marked by volatility, with both parties initiating terminations of their union on a near monthly basis through the duration of their involvement, as substantiated by exhibits T, U, V, and W. The frequency and regularity of these disruptions speaks to a pattern of persistent discord rather than any alleged derangement in part of the plaintiff. Basically, they childish. I'm gonna quit you. No, I'm gonna quit you. Then they
Right.
get back together. I'm gonna quit you. You gonna quit? I'm gonna quit you too. Then they get back together. Basically, they're grown people acting like teenagers.
Yep.
Continue. The defendant has been on national television on several occasions implying and or stating, "I am lying." He said he didn't do anything to her because he wasn't sued, and that is proof. The defendant made the following false statements. See Exhibit BB at 2:14 on Fox Sports national television show Undisputed on or about August 19, 2022. Skip, give me a second. I had a very similar accusation happen to me in 2010. It was proven to be untrue. Skip. Last September, an attorney from the Manhattan DA's office calls me, "Shannon, we want you to such and such." But the woman that accused me, she had run over her husband, almost kills him. He wanted me to testify. Hey, Kat, have you? Shout out to Kat, because this is where I got this. Did you read this? And even with all this flowery information, can you make heads or tails of what she's talking about?
You want to get Kat to come in here and maybe help us? This is
Yeah, you got time to come up and help us out with reading this stuff, because this is
a lot.
confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know. I'll send you a link in X if you can. Let me see. I said, I want nothing to do with this. I said, I'm done with the situation.
Right.
And all those calls are recorded. So yeah. I can imagine what kind of bills, what kind of, that's okay. We appreciate you. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of bill you had to be able to call 200 times at Rikers Island. I mean, do you have enough time to do that?
That's
a
crazy.
Mess. I said, I want nothing to do with this. I'm done with that situation. I said, I'm out of the Michelle Bundy business. Leave me alone.
Michelle Bundy is the other Michelle.
What page?
No, this Michelle.
This Michelle.
Okay.
I think Michelle Evans and Michelle Bundy are the same people, because she
got married.
She got married.
Right. Yeah.
Somehow she got word that they had reached out to me. She started reaching out to me, texting me, threatening me. I want nothing to do with it. This thing got nothing to do with me. He said, well, can you come? He said, well, can you come testify? I said, no, I'm not going to testify. I say, but I will sign a sworn affidavit. Now, for me, Skip, I left that alone because I know I didn't do anything to that woman, but I bear no hard feelings. I had moved on. The specific statements made by the defendant, notably during the broadcast of Undisputed on or about August 19th, were slanderous in nature and in content. If he made a statement, if he sent a statement, then that wasn't slanderous.
Yeah, he didn't slander, nor did he libel. Like, you lost your case. He got up there, he explained his side. All he did was explain what happened. He didn't. This is what happened. You ran over your husband. They wanted me to testify. I testified. That's not slanderous. Or they wanted me to testify. I said no, but I supply a signed affidavit. You know what I'm saying? And boom, there it is. I don't see how this is what she's making it out to be slanderous. This sounds, I'm telling you, this sounds exactly like what Shannon said she is. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Kat says this part is interesting. She added something to her Google Drive where she reached out to Atlanta PD, but it's unclear if she had them search the proper name. Because remember, she went from Evans to Bundy, to Evans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Specifically, defendant falsely articulated that plaintiff had made baseless accusations against him, which were subsequently proven to be untrue, insinuating that plaintiff engaged in fabricating legal charges. The plaintiff did not almost kill her husband. Contrary to the avowals made by the defendant, which purport a desire to remain uninvolved in the matter at hand, Mr. Sharpe has taken deliberate legal actions by submitting not one but two affidavits to the court. These affidavits contain assertions that are both spurious and defamatory in nature. The defendant has leveled baseless accusations against plaintiffs, asserting that the plaintiff issued threats against him, claims which are without merit and substantiation. Furthermore, the defendant has advanced unfounded declarations insisting upon his non-involvement in any act that could be construed as harmful or injurious to the plaintiff. These claims stand in stark contrast to the evidentiary record. Moreover, despite proclamations of having disengaged from matters concerning the plaintiff, the defendant has, with notably inconsistency, elected to invoke the plaintiff in discourse across a myriad of public channels. This includes instances subsequent to the imposition of a restraining order in the year 2010. The defendant's conduct, as evidenced by these discussions, suggests a continued and unyielding preoccupation with the plaintiff, which belies his stated claims of detachment.
So she got a restraining order against him back in 2010. Is that what she's saying?
Yes, and so she's saying that she's that.
It's just a lot. She bouncing all over the place.
It is. So basically, she's saying that there was a restraining order against Shannon in 2010. He is still basically he's preoccupied with her, and he is besmirchifying her name all across his. Anytime he gets on TV, there's some instance where he besmirchifies her name.
Well, if he didn't say her name, I don't see how. And that's another thing too. If I didn't say your name.
Well, he said her name, Michelle Bundy, in one of the things that he was through with her. He's through Michelle Bundy.
Oh, he did say that. Yeah, he said, I'm no longer in the Michelle Bundy
business or something like that.
Yeah.
These declarations, spoken in the presence of and disseminated to a substantial audience number, were not only unfounded and wholly inaccurate, but were also made with a blatant disregard for the truth. The defendant's assertions have been vetted and, upon information and belief, found to be without merit, therefore establishing the essential elements of slander. The defamatory statements have directly resulted in quantifiable harm to plaintiff's personal and professional reputation, have exposed plaintiff to public contempt, have induced an evil opinion of her in the minds of right-thinking members of society, and have significantly injured her in her occupation.
Hold on, before you keep going. She's saying that this is what caused her to a result in her personal and professional reputation being harmed. Correct. Girl, you went to jail, girl, for almost killing your husband. What are you talking about?
Oh, Lord.
What? So Shannon is the reason why you can't get a job because Shannon, because of what he said, not because you went to jail for running your husband over, whatever happened. Not for that.
See, Blue, you're not supposed to talk about that. Okay.
My bad.
That wasn't what it was.
Right.
Just like her doing those 200 messages from jail wasn't what it was. She wasn't trying to bother him. She was just trying to make him understand that if he
200, I'm trying to make you this 200 times I done called you, man. Why you not picking up?
Hello. This is Rikers Island. You have a call from
Michelle Bundy, man. Pick up.
I'm sorry. That's silliness is how I cope with stuff that's just too much. Silliness is how I cope with it, y'all. This is not a laughing matter, but silliness is how I cope. The following elements of slander and defamation have been proven by the plaintiff. Statement of fact: the defendant uttered a statement of fact, not opinion, that is provably false. Publication: the false statements were spoken to a third party. Identification: the statements were of and concerning the plaintiff. The person hearing the statement easily understands that the defamatory statement refers to the plaintiff. The plaintiff was named directly. The defamatory nature, the statements were defamatory, tending to harm the reputation of the plaintiff or to lower her in the estimation of the community or deter third parties from associating or dealing with her. Falsity, the statements were false. Damages, the plaintiff proved that she suffered special harm, actual damages such as loss of job or other financial losses as a result of the statement. In New York, slander per se includes statements that tend to injure in his or her trade, business, or profession, impute unchastity to a woman. Impute unchastity to a woman. So basically, she lost her job with
CNN or
Tiger
TNT
Woods
or yeah, Tiger Woods, wherever she was at. Yeah,
because
she
that
had to go to jail. She had to serve a sentence. You can't work for Tiger Woods and be in jail. Like it's one or the other.
well, she
That
said
ain't.
she was doing a website, so maybe she thought she could work remotely.
I guess. I guess.
Fault. The plaintiff showed that the defendant was at least negligent in making the statement. In addition to proving the element of slander, the aforementioned actions and the defendant's statements, unprivileged and maliciously broadcast, caused and constituted slander per se.
So
And
I'm sorry. Where is the proof? This is a whole bunch of words with no proof involved, or even anything that's pointing to, hey, we got some proof that shows that he lied.
and it all comes back to, again, it's word salad, because again, my head is hurting because I've read too many words of the English language that I don't normally read in the daytime. So that's telling me that what she said up the thing, like I said, if you would have said it in plain speak, it would have made sense. But hereunto, therefore, thou, and all of this other stuff,
Wow. But
yeah.
I mean, so you have your case where you run over your husband. They reach out to Shannon. I don't know why they reach out to Shannon, but they reach out to him. He supplies an affidavit as evidence. You go to jail. Now you're just trying to say that was what he supplied was false. And then when he got up and said what he said to Skip during that show was false too. How do you prove that that's false? When the jury looked at that as evidence and convicted you and sent you behind the jail. I don't know how you say that what he said was false, because now you're going to undermine that whole case. So that case now has to be looked at. No, because think about it. If it's proven that Shannon said some false stuff, that's bad evidence, correct?
Correct. But here's the thing. Her husband probably mentioned Shannon because of the fact that he was saying that he can corroborate her behavior, how volatile she can be. So the prosecution sounds like they called him to ask, to talk to him, ask him some questions, asked him if he would come testify about her actions and stuff. He said, I don't want to have no parts of that, but what I can do is send you an affidavit on the stuff that she has done to me. He sends in the 2 affidavits. Why there's 2 affidavits, I don't know. That there are 2 affidavits. She starts calling him from jail, saying, if you write down anything that's false or anything in those affidavits, I'm going to sue you. And she had to make sure that he understand that 200 times that she called or sent him messages. That's what I'm getting out of it. But she's saying that whatever he put in that affidavits were false. And then he followed it up by getting on TV and talking about what was going on. And then when he called her name, she possibly lost her job with Tiger Woods.
So she got that job after prison?
That's what it seems like to me.
How do you prove that? How do you prove that my affidavit was false? Because it's basically basically hearsay. It's basically he say, she say at this point. So that's what I'm looking for, the evidence to say, no, we got right here where he called me, and these 200 times I called him, he said, hey, look, my bad. I ain't mean to send, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is the evidence
maybe
of
it's
him
in
saying,
those she's got attachments, but I'm not going through all of that. But we'll go down. Let's just get through this cause of action for slander of a woman. under the auspices of New York law, particularly with respect and the provisional of Civil Rights Law, Section 77, accusation falsely imputing the commission of an R constitutes slander per se. These allegations inherently pertain to the category of sexual misconduct from which New York law affords protection to women. In such instances of slander per se, it is not requisite for the plaintiff to plead or establish the occurrence of special damages, the cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress. The defendant willfully engaged in the propagation of mendacious declarations with the malicious intent to exacerbate my period of incarceration.
Okay. I'm still not seeing.
She's suing him because he sent those affidavits in describing what happened, what his account of what happened, that caused for her to stay in jail.
No, you was going to jail anyway.
Yeah, but she says because of those affidavits, she's in there longer than what she should have been. I don't know why that is. I don't know why you're not getting that, Blue.
I guess it's going boom, boom. Just, it's not making any sense, lady. I'm sorry. That's
the defendant willfully engaged in. Okay. During my time in confinement, I was subjected to intimidation and physical assault, which directly contributed to the manifestation of a profound emotional trauma. These injurious outcomes were a direct consequence of the defendant's deliberate dissemination of falsehood. It was a direct consequence because you ran over your husband and caused him injury.
Is she right? Is she saying that if Shannon wouldn't supply the affidavit, she thinks she would have got off?
That's what I'm hearing. That is how I'm understanding it.
Okay.
That's how I'm understanding it.
She think that's the sole reason. Shannon came through with his affidavit, and now I got to go to jail.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it was a misunderstanding that he went up under my car. That was a misunderstanding.
All right.
I will tell you this, just from reading this, and I'm not trying to cast any aspersions. I'm not trying to say anything, but we all have to get out of dealing with people. Say it like you mean it. They say crazy folks have good sex. And there's no sex in the world worth all of this.
Right.
There's just none. There's none. For men or women. No, there's just none of that. None of this. Because we don't play in court. This is how you lose all your money, playing in court.
All your money, yeah. Or end up in jail for running somebody
exactly.
over.
Specifically, I was unjustly accused of fabricating a sexual assault to law enforcement authorities, an act I categorically deny. My legal
wait. She was accused of sexual assault?
I was
fabricating. I'm sorry, fabricating.
Yeah.
Okay.
An act I categorically deny. My legal counsel has apprised me that the defendant's action have materially prejudiced my legal standing. Further compounding these transgressions, here's why I'm pausing.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell is writing this? Because it goes from first person to third person. Because now this is first person. Now it's like she's writing this.
And that's what's been confusing me this whole time. Who is writing? Is a lawyer writing this? Did the plaintiff write this? Did Shannon write this? Who wrote? You know what I'm saying? Because it is all over the place. Who
this
writing?
Is all over the place. Because it sounds, because it they need to figure out what they're who is whoever one person needs to draft this and speak in first person or third person, because they're going back and forth to first person and thing, because now she's saying my legal counsel has apprised me that defendant's action have materially prejudiced my legal standing, but up here they keep talking about the defendant and the plaintiff. Further compounding these transgressions, now we get back. The defendants proceeded to disseminate defamatory content via Twitter, a platform frequented by my professional acquaintances. I who follow him. Why are you following somebody who insinuating why hasn't Shannon blocked her? Insinuating my apprehension on charges of filing spurious sexual assault complaints and engaging in harassment. These allegations are patently false. His commentary referenced the events of the year 2010 and explicitly identified me by both my natal and nuptial appellations. Girl.
So what would that be? Her kid and her husband?
No, it's she basically it was by her married name and her
got it.
By my natal and nuptials appellations. Baby, that's
just say my maiden name and my married name. Just say that. This is the reason why she probably ended up in jail, talking like this in front of the court.
Oh my gosh. And can you imagine, not just to substantiate the character and to illustrate the detrimental impact such slanderous statements have inflicted upon my reputation. I have furnished the court with pertinent documentations. See exhibits A, F, K, R, S. And she has every letter of the alphabet in exhibits. Because up at the top, she was into AA and EE and UU. Thus, the defendant one committed extreme and outrageous conduct. 2, intended to cause or disregard or substantial probability of causing severe emotional distress. 3, a causal connection between conduct and injury. And 4, severe emotional distress. The conduct of the defendant has precipitated a state of apprehension regarding my personal safety and has inflicted demonstrable harm upon my professional standing. In the wake of these actions by the defendant, I found it necessary to seek medical intervention for emotional turmoil I experienced, including but not limited to distress, heightened anxiety, and episodes of panic, all of which are directly attributed to the defendant's behavior. So basically, she's having these panic attacks and all these things because she was in jail. Now, we are supposed to disregard the fact that there was a vehicular incident in which her husband was injured, in which she went to court, and then she was found, she lost that case, and she found herself in confinement. And anyone who's been in confinement for whatever period of time would experience distress, heightened anxiety, and episodes of panic. But she's saying that had Shannon Sharpe not filed the affidavits as requested by the district attorney, all of this wouldn't have happened.
If maybe she should have reached out to Shannon to get some affidavits instead of she just got beat to the case. You know what I'm saying? She just got beat. You should be suing your lawyer, not Shannon. You see, like, what do we? Oh, keep going.
But furthermore, there exists a well-documented pattern of the defendant's emotional abuse towards me, as evidenced extensively by exhibits T, U, V, and W.
X, Y, and Z.
This pattern corroborates the sustained nature of the defendant's deleterious conduct and its injurious effect on my psychological health and professional life. Cause of action for negligent infliction of emotional distress. Let me see. Let me read real quickly, and maybe I can give you all the cliff notes. So basically, she's basically saying that that Shannon Sharpe has basically called her a stalker, and that has hurt her professionally. It's caused her physical injury, extreme emotional distress, and injured her reputation. The plaintiffs have shown negligence, emotional distress, and causation, physical harm, manifestation by objective symptom.
Symptomology.
I'm sorry, I need to know what that is.
I'm sorry, I gotta know what this word is. Hold on. Too
The
many
set of
letters.
symptoms, characteristics of a medical condition or exhibited by a patient. A set of symptoms, characteristic of a medical condition or exhibited by a patient. Symptomology refers to the collections of signs and symptoms associated with a disease or disorder. Example of symptomology includes depression, delusions, hallucinations, suicidal ideation, alcohol or other substance misuse, and panic disorders. These can manifest as physical signs like fever, anorexia, or nausea, as well as psychological symptoms like confusion, anxiety, and difficulty of functioning.
Hmm.
So basically, she's so stressed out that in her being stressed out, so in other words, that whatever he's doing is stressing her out to the point that she's physically manifesting certain things. So basically, like she could break out in hives.
Right.
She can, she could have forgetfulness and all these other different things. So this is what she's saying. Because of the stress, she's exhibiting physical symptoms that can be construed into something that could be manifested by something else. But because she is manifesting those things from her stress.
Right. Hair falling out, things of that nature, stuff like that. I
Yes,
get all that.
I get it. Oh, child. That's all you had to say. And this is and just for you, this is why I like reading this stuff, because not only do I learn I learn words now that I'm going to put in my book. The defendant negligently and or intentionally accused me of crimes I did not commit. In addition, the defendant conspired with the assistant district attorney to ensure that I was sent to prison, Exhibit N, during which my 8-year-old niece was unalived on the 4th of July. That's to play on your heartstrings, because
that ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
with you going to jail.
Right.
Unless that there was a vehicular incident that led to someone's untimely injury. In a parade, and I was unable to grieve with my family or watch the funeral services. This caused me extreme emotional distress, and I had to be placed on a mental health crisis unit to care for my emotional trauma. As a citizen of the same republic, the defendant was bound by an implicit civic duty to refrain from impeding my liberty through the levity of fallacious charges. We're not reading anymore. She's basically saying that, and the cause for defamation probably has to say. In conclusion, plaintiff hereby repeats and realleges the allegations contained in the Second Amendment complaint as fully set therein, and we're not going to read any of this. But basically, she's saying, according to this lawsuit, Blue, she has a graph.
Yeah, she got a graph. Okay. She with it. And it's broken down with percentages of mental.
We gotta be
complex trauma 5. How do you know this?
Baby. She says, let's look at this. And she
got the
she says she's got 24% of emotional trauma, psychological emotional trauma. She has 10.8% of depression. She's got 10.8 reputational damage. She's got 10.8 economic hardship. She's got 5.4% of social isolation, 5.4% of fear and paranoia, anxiety and panic attacks at 5.4%, legal and judicial stress at 5.4%, complex grief at 5.4%, traumatic bonding at 5.4%. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Impact on physical health at 5.4%, and to conclude, complex trauma at 5.4%. And this is the impact of defendant's actions on Michelle Evans.
Infinite minded said. And she is 100% crazy.
110%. This is what he said.
110% crazy. Yeah, I don't even, how do you even, if I went to a psychiatrist, because she had to do that, right? Go to a psychiatrist. How do you get them to break down your trauma, your mental trauma in a pie graph?
I am mildly confused but utterly impressed. This is so meaningful to me in that it's visually, I can see what we didn't need none of that other stuff. She could have just sent us, she could have just
did this
and been through.
Oh man, that's wild.
I've never seen nothing like this. She has a graph. She suffers from acute stress disorder and post-traumatic stress syndrome, facing public allegations that led to withdrawal from society. Her fear and paranoia, she experienced intensive fear and paranoia due to defendant's actions and threats. It impacts her daily life, causing anxiety and sense of vulnerability. The depression, the culmination of these stressors led to clinical depression, characterized by persistent sadness, loss of interest, and previously enjoyed activities. Anxiety and panic disorder, she experienced chronic anxiety, panic attacks, and an ongoing state of tension and fear, particularly in response to triggers related to the events and media coverage. Reputational damage.
That was the internet, girls. That was the internet.
The impact on her reputation, especially since she has been portrayed negatively in the media, led to damage of self-concept and self-esteem, impacting her identity and sense of self-worth. Economic hardship, the loss of employment and difficulty securing new work caused financial stress, which exacerbated emotional distress and created a cycle of anxiety and depression. Legal and judicial stress, navigating the legal system, feeling misrepresented and maligned. Complex grief. Man, what is this? The loss of a family member while incarcerated, coupled with the inability to grieve with her family. Okay, that's what complex grief is. Traumatic bonding. Evans experienced a cycle of abuse and reconciliation with Sharpe. As sometimes occurs in cases of intimate partner violence, she struggles with feeling of attachment mixed with fear, diminishing her ability to trust others and form healthy relationships.
Okay. That makes sense. Not to say that traumatic. Yeah.
I'm telling you, all she needed to have done was attach that graph with the explanations going down. But you still had to let us know that you ran over your husband with your vehicle, causing injury. Resulting from the prolonged and multifaceted nature of her distressing experiences with defendant, this trauma manifested through enduring emotional and psychological stress, heightened anxiety. The chronic nature of her exposure to Sharpe's alleged threats and public defamation contributed to this complex trauma. The combination of these factors contribute to a life of deeply altered by trauma, requiring extensive support and therapy to manage and overcome the emotional and psychological damages. And I will repeat, those that go to prison have these types of things going on.
They do, yeah.
Reputational damage is a profound and multifaceted harm that impacts an individual's identity and self-worth, particularly when magnified through the media's lens. In the case of Michelle Evans, the negative portrayal and defamatory statements broadcasted on national platforms such as Fox Sports Undisputed and YouTube's Nightcap have distorted the public's perception of her character and integrity. Okay. This form of character assassination has a cascade of detrimental effects on Miss Evans' psychological well-being. The publication of the defamation led to a distorted self-concept where Miss Evans began to internalize the negative image presented to the outside world. We're not reading anymore. I'm just going down to see
Another graph. Wow. Oh, she on it.
Here we go.
She is on it. What's common public comment contents about? So she got, this is the breakdown of where everybody says something about her. Is that what it says?
That's what I'm saying. So she has severe accusatory comments at 23.1%. And as Blue said, in regards to this, stay off the internet.
Stay off the internet. You don't go on. You know, Shannon Sharpe be on in the morning. Don't watch that.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Dehumanizing and degrading language at 23.1%. Victim blaming and shaming at 15.4%. Public scrutiny and judgment at 15.4%. Stigmatization and isolation at 7.7%. Calling for imprisonment or are 7.7%. Racial and gender stereotyping at 7.7%.
I got to see these getting explained. I really, because what is going on, man?
This is just the nerdy in me. Just to see this graph just gives me joy, even though I recognize clearly that you went to jail because of an incident with a vehicular nature.
Right.
We don't want to forget that. Nature of the comments. The public comments and allegations against Evans are of a severe and accusatory nature. They include character assassinations, such as claims of her being infatuated with Sharpe and moving close to him with an insane idea in her head that they would have had a relationship. There are statements referring to her as a quote gold digging reputation ruining slut, and suggesting severe punishment like imprisonment or psychiatric institutionalization. Additionally, you
went too far off.
Well, there was an incident
right
of the vehicular nature where there was injuries. Additionally, derogatory and dehumanizing terms like Bundy bitches and wretched nut are used.
Bundy bitches is nuts.
Stigmatization and isolation. The public portrayal of Evans as a stalker, liar, and gold digger can lead to social stigmatization and isolation. Being publicly branded in such negative terms can result in feelings of shame, embarrassment, and loneliness. Trauma and emotional distress. The harsh nature of these comments, especially those calling for her imprisonment or suggesting she deserves to be AR'd, can be deeply traumatizing. Such extreme vilification can exacerbate existing emotional distress, potentially leading to anxiety, depression, and PTSD. One of the ways that you can kind of cut down on this, as a great scholar had once said, Mr. Bluminati, stay off the internet.
Stay off the internet. Stay off the internet. Don't go looking for it.
Damage to reputation and self-esteem. Accusation of lying and manipulating situations for personal gain can severely damage one's self-esteem and self-images. Evans might feel undermined in her professional relationship. So this sounds like, again, this is written like a third person. So somebody has written this for her.
Mm-hmm.
Fear and paranoia. Given the intensity and hostility of these comments, she might develop a heightened sense of fear and paranoia, especially concerning her safety and how she's perceived by others. Racial and gender stereotyping. Many comments contain deeply ingrained racial and gender stereotypes, often framing the situation in terms of race and gender dynamics rather than as individual circumstances. For example, there are insinuations about Black men preying on white women and white women being gold diggers or sexually promiscuous.
You like them snow bunnies, huh? Well, Umar, isn't this suspicious?
okay. Dr. Umar has some comments too. It was like 3 minutes, I think, but I didn't go through the whole thing. He was like, I'm standing by my brother. I'm standing
Yeah, I
by.
saw it. He said, you got to do me one thing, though. You got to quit messing with them snow bunnies. Can't be snow hopping out here, brother Shannon. I saw him. He a clown.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who. I'm not saying that any other race does or not. I just don't know who gonna want to be taped and so you can hear me being having sex. Oh, Michelle. I don't know nobody who wants any of that mess going on.
And that was recent too, was because that was
just last year.
That was just the end of last year, right? So and that had I'm guessing this would have to be her, right? And that was live. That wasn't a recording. That was he was on Instagram live. Oh, Michelle. So I guess they done had dealings after she done got out of prison.
Again, I will reiterate. How much trauma did the man she ran over experience if this was her outcome?
I don't know. Her trauma could be from running him over too. She should add that.
Again, there was the incident in a vehicular nature. He's I'm quite sure that he has. I mean, because I've been hit by a car, so I know how traumatic that is, being hit by a car. Yeah. And I was a child, so and there's just some recovery that you can do. But being hit by a car when you're as an adult, which resulted in injuries, I'm assuming that he probably had deep tissue injury. He may have broken bones,
hit his head.
And just to understand that someone who you all are supposed to have been in a loving and committed relationship having this outcome, I'm quite sure, and I would be interested in seeing his graph.
Right.
Victim blaming and shaming. Several comments blame Evans for the situation, which suggests that she was seeking financial gain or that she was at fault for engaging with Sharpe. Isn't that you suing? So you are trying to get some financial compensation. Right. Dehumanizing and degrading language, that's self-explanatory. Impact of racist and sexist content. The overtly racist and sexist comment not only attacked Evans' character, but also reflect broader societal prejudices, which can amplify feelings of alienation and distress. And what does Dr. Umar say?
Quit messing with them snow bunnies.
Yeah, so that's
isn't that suspicious?
Mm-hmm. Public scrutiny and judgment. The public nature of these comments mean that Evans' situation is not just personal legal matter, but also a subject of public scrutiny and judgment. Suggestion for moderation. There are calls within the comments for moderation and the banning of offensive discriminatory posts, indicating awareness among some commenters of the harmful nature of such remarks. The comments surrounding the case between Evans and Sharpe demonstrate a disturbing level of hostility, racism, sexism, and victim blaming. Such an environment has had a profoundly negative impact on Evans' psychological health, contributing to feelings of distress, stigmatization, and a diminished sense of self-worth. In examining the cumulative psychological impact of Shannon Sharpe's actions on Michelle Evans, one must delve into a labyrinth of psychological trauma exacerbated by a maelstrom of public scrutiny and character assassination. Do we want a summary recap of the psychological effects?
I think we got it.
I'm going through here. We're almost done, y'all. I had no respectfully submitted.
Michelle Evans.
So she wrote this herself.
I affirm 31st day. So, okay, so hold on. When did that happen with Shannon? Because if she had this in motion, Was that around? Was that summertime?
This was last year. This is
Right.
this,
I'm
yeah.
talking about that.
Oh, you talking about the
Yeah. When was that? Let
oh,
me see.
look that, yeah. That was September. It says here September 11th.
Yep, September 11th. Or yep. So this was after that.
No, this was before.
No, I'm saying this the
Oh,
Instagram live was after this.
after
After
this,
she
correct.
filed this. So she was still dealing with him even after she filed this. I'm well, if that's the Michelle that was,
Yeah, that seems like it.
yeah, seems like it. Seems like it. That's crazy. Yep, September 11th, 7 months ago. The intimate audio leak.
I just wanted to show because we're not going to open all of these, but I just want to share the tab. These are all the exhibits. You see this, these are all the exhibits that she has on the Google Doc that she turned in. You got exhibit A, you got exhibit AA, you got exhibit triple A, quadruple A. You've got all of these exhibits. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But yet, if you're the same person, you're on Instagram Live 2 months later after this.
Getting your back beat in. That's a lot of stuff she added though. And I don't know if anybody gonna go through all that like that. That's a lot.
I'm not going to go
Yeah,
through it.
that's a lot of
This
stuff.
a lot. Well, I will tell you, I will say this. I have a couple of statements and I'm going to say, and then I'm going to hold it over to you to see what you're saying. First of all, Shannon, you like him crazy. You like him crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's worth it because if this is all this stuff that this person put in a lawsuit, in a complaint that she wrote herself, and then in September, you hunching on Instagram Live? Is she the same person?
That's the question.
That's crazy work.
Real crazy work.
Because you wrote an affidavit and you don't have nothing to do. And if she's the same person you were hunching on Instagram Live, that's crazy work. This is crazy, especially when she's got beautifully graphs talking about her psychological harm.
Has this case, is it still pending? Is it resolved? Is it dropped? Do we know?
Don't know. But if the Instagram Live was any indication, that it seemed like it has been dismissed.
Dismissed or yeah, that's what I would say. My thing is, okay, to go back to what we just learned yesterday and everything that came out with Shannon Sharpe. If Tony Busby is looking at that case and trying to take stuff from that case to put it with his case, Tony Busby seems to be a bad lawyer. That case sounds so bad. I wouldn't take that to any judge just because it sounds bad. It sounds like revenge. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like he came, he didn't testify, but he supplied the affidavits. You ended up going to jail, and now you want to sue him for revenge. So why would I use that case to bolster this case over here with this other girl, Gabriella or whatever? I would not do that. And that's one of the reasons why it seems to me that this might actually be what Shannon is saying. It might be a shakedown. Not saying that there is not any kind of stuff involved that Shannon wouldn't want to get out, because it seemed like they had some freaky deaky stuff going on. And Shannon is a huge public figure. You know what I'm saying? He ain't just a football player who put the helmet on and you don't know who he is no more. This dude is on ESPN. He's on one of the top rated shows on YouTube, Nightcap, his own Club Shay Shay, you know what I'm saying? One of the biggest YouTubers out right now. So I don't know, man. Could be a shakedown. Could
Yeah.
really be a shakedown.
And so now you have to understand too that when Michelle did her lawsuit in 2004,
Mhm.
24, this is when he supposedly had met this particular person, because you remember the Instagram live
Mhm.
uh leaked out in September. It
September.
says
Yeah.
here, by October 2024, Sharpe's behavior had grown progressively worse beyond anything the plaintiff have experienced from him. So he was literally, if we're going by what they're saying, they overlapped. He was dating these two women
Both of them. Yeah.
overlapping. That's what it sounds like. Uh at this point, he was insistent upon recording their sexual activity, sometimes without her knowledge. And that probably was that comes at the point of hearing about that that Instagram live incident.
Mhm. Said, hold on, wait. Sharp will repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do things to her that would make like what does that mean? I'm gonna be, is it I'm beating you, I'm gonna beat you up to where you just ugly now? You gonna, you know what I'm saying? Is that what that means? I wanted to do Sharp repeatedly.
I've
Sharp would
asked that
repeatedly
question
tell
repeatedly.
Doe that he wanted to her do her things that would make no other man want her. I'm not understanding what that is. That
But that
violence?
language is the same as in
Right. The other, but it don't make in this core. It makes more sense with the crazy lady than it does with this one. You know what I'm saying? What, to make no other man want you, what, by what? Making you pregnant? You see what I'm saying?
I'm
Putting
trying,
you in the house
listen,
barefoot and pregnant. What is?
I thought maybe that, I was asking you. Here it is. Here's the same language.
I don't know. This is That's what Tony Busby got to do. That's what I'm saying. He got to do better. This right here, I'm reading Sharp repeatedly because he put that in there for a reason, because it is a WTF when you're reading it. What? Make no other man want her.
Yeah, it's
But
real
what does that
inflammatory.
mean?
I have no idea. I don't know. And whoever knows what it means is not willing to come out and say exactly what that means.
Yeah, and even with her, how did she take it? Because I would have did that and said, and not defendant, and plaintiff takes it as yada 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 yada. Feel for her life, yada. You know what I'm saying? Stuff. This is just make no other man want her. That could be. We got the text message of her saying, "I want your man batter," or whatever she said, and want a baby. Is that what it is? Because I'm gonna make you, you know what I'm saying, fat with a baby, so no other man will want you.
Mm-hmm. And this is another thing that is pulled from, because we've got that correct. And look at
Mm-hmm.
this. Sharp even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without permission. We go back to her
To
complaint.
the stalking.
Yeah.
So he just figured out how to get into the apartment complex. Like, what? He Jimmy DeLock? He ain't no spy now. What he doing? He is not no spy.
Here it is. A dispute has arisen provoked by my recent and unsettled revelation that Shannon had clandestinely introduced another woman into his domicile, a fact which he deliberately concealed from me. Amid this contentious exchange, wait a minute. Here it is. In this month, he was noted within my residential abode. So here's another instance that it's similar from this lawsuit to this one about entering the complex without permission. Because you remember, because Jay-Z has a lawsuit out pending against Tony Busby.
Yeah.
And it was stated in there that according to that particular the VMA girl is what we call her. she said that he would ask her certain questions, and the questions were always moving towards uh, adding Jay-Z or adding Diddy or adding
Mm,
something like that. So in other words, he may have asked a question, and again, listen, this is alleged. I wasn't there. I don't know these people, but the way I summarized it was they were sitting down in the diner, and he was asking her questions about this, and when she would make a statement like that, he would say, "Oh well, so such and such happened," and would
right.
continue to ask that such and such. She'll say, "Yeah," and she may say, "But," and then this comes up in here.
Yeah.
But these things are similar, and the same thing is similar. First, it starts with because the let me see flew into a rage, but the same thing, he pushed me down on my knees, and you remember how you were talking about
Yep.
biting. There was a statement in this one that said basically the same
I think you
thing.
went past it already. Go back up. I think it was at the end of the other page. She said something about, hold on. Shannon Sharpe violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times. Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. He did it again in January. I thought I had saw some said something orally.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because I know I had seen the way it was described in Michelle's lawsuit. It was
It's
described
similar.
similarly, and I was trying
Hmm.
to get to it.
It's probably further down. I thought I had saw something orally in this.
Yeah, because it's in here because we read it last night. Let me get down 2%.
There it is. Is that some on the knees? Forcing her to her knees, subjecting. There it is. Yep, at the top right there. According to
Right
New York
here.
lawsuit. Yep.
According
Oh, they
to
talk. That's about that Michelle Evans though.
according to
That's
the Sharp, forcibly subdued plaintiff
mm,
in that case, forcing her knees and subject non in spite of her repeat thing. When she resisted, he persisted and would not take no offense. According to New York lawsuit, the plaintiff therein feared for her safety, just as plaintiff fears for her safety now. The New York
mm,
lawsuits alleged that it escalation into non-consensual penetration, vaginal penetration, and while telling her it would make no other man would want her.
yep.
These words were apparently not a one-time thing.
That just don't make no sense to me. I don't get that line.
Well,
Pam, I'm trying to come up with some type of understanding. That line just is it's just a nasty line to even I don't to even say I don't even know where I don't know.
Cat said, "Oh, I just think about that lady doing that verses with with Steve Harvey, and
Uh-oh.
she was like, he kept talking, and she was like, oh, there's a meme that have made a meme out of it. That's just how I feel about that." Y'all, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is we've got two lawsuits. I'm unsure if this particular lawsuit from New York has been dismissed. However, it's suspiciously eerie that the same language that's in that lawsuit is in the current lawsuit. We also have, again, we've got
Busby.
Busby's client with a with an audio with him saying certain words. What did he say about choking?
Mm-hmm.
We have his statement from we have Shannon Sharpe's lawyer statement with the text messages, and again, she supposedly has sent 200 messages herself.
Right.
200 is a key word in both of these lawsuits.
Yeah. Yep. That 200.
Wow.
Trying to see if any other news has come out about or if
I,
that
I
video done dropped or anything like that.
I will tell you this.
Yeah, I ain't seeing nothing on if anything new came from Shannon.
No, I will tell you this. I'm just of the opinion that So, oh, I wanted to go over this really quick because I don't know exactly. Have you heard of Lauren LaRosa? She's
Yeah,
on
Lone
20.
Rose. Hmm.
Okay,
Breakfast Club. She used to be on TMZ.
gotcha. So let me. Okay, I knew that name looked familiar. Let me share this tab real quick. All right, now she claims I spoke with both Tony Busby and Shannon Sharpe's legal team, and I have some updates. First, I asked Tony Busby, attorney for the accused, some questions. One, I asked if this case is happening because Shannon Sharpe is reportedly in talks for a $100 million podcast deal.
Hmm.
He answered, these Shannon Sharpe allegations are not because of the recent $100 million podcast deal talks. Attorney Busby claims that he has been in a preliminary mediation with Shannon Sharpe and his legal team since February of 2025. Tony Busby's allegations that during this mediation, it was agreed that certain information that was released in Shannon's statements would be redacted. Tony Busby calls the inclusion of Jane Doe's name and text in Shannon Sharpe's statement an alleged attack on a young girl and alleges the text Shannon says she sent him were sent well before the acts being claimed in her lawsuit. Two, I asked about the video blackmail Shannon Sharpe mentioned in his statement. Tony Busby answered that Shannon's lawyers were allegedly shown the video in full duration during a mediation. Tony Busby alleges that Shannon Sharpe allegedly denied to view the video and offered a settlement in exchange that the victim declined. Interesting. And I believe you brought this up. Second, I then spoke to Lanley Davis, attorney for Shannon Sharpe, in response to those Tony Busby claims. Shannon Sharpe attorney denies that their team was ever extended the offer to see the video in full. He did confirm to me that only Shannon Sharpe's attorneys were shown the tape, but they allege that they were shown an edited version of the video, which they confirmed was edited after explaining it to Shannon Sharpe. Shannon's attorneys say they described it to Shannon Sharpe, i.e., saying short lengths and describing the content, and Shannon Sharpe was convinced that it was edited. Shannon's attorneys alleged they then asked Mr. Busby for a copy of the tape to determine with a neutral expert whether it was edited, and he refused. Shannon Sharpe's attorneys also alleged that Mr. Busby has misleadingly disclosed the discussions with the mediator. Miss Zuniga, the woman accusing Shannon of sexual assault, demands tens of millions of dollars in return for her not going to public. They're standing on claims from Shannon Sharpe's statement that the accuser secretly taped the sexual activity that morning and says that they have reasons to believe that she significantly edited the tape. Well, obviously, we have two people who think the same way because Shannon has a tape that he supposedly went on Instagram Live accidentally, when we all know if anybody has tried to get on Instagram for any types of reason, even if you're a content creator trying
Yep.
to stream to Instagram, it's difficult.
Right.
And
Yeah.
just a stream. So it is also difficult to be able to set up there because there's so many prompts that you have to go through. There's at least 2 to 3 prompts you have to go through
To
before
even get there. Yeah.
to get to live. So your booty had to be butt dialed to do that. Your booty has to be real active to do that. Shannon Sharpe is categorically denying the sexual activity that morning or any other time that was ever in any course and was entirely consensual. And his legal team says the unedited tape would prove this, as well as her numerous prior text messages that they have released. So there's nothing more I can say.
Yeah. From right now,
Got
he
a
say,
weird
she,
case.
yeah, weird case. It's he say, she say. The audio doesn't make me look at Shannon because it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Next time I see you, I want to. Yeah. It sounds. It. Let me retract that. It sounds bad because it's violence against another person, but she didn't seem too concerned about it. You know what I'm saying? Then supposedly this video that we haven't seen yet, whatever this video is.
Now, I'm not looking forward to seeing no video with Shannon Sharpe. I'm just telling you right now.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to parse through the evidence that we have been given as of right now, and I don't know if it's enough to indict Shannon through public opinion as of right now.
Yeah.
Right now, it just seemed like you said, it's a weird case. Seemed like y'all was on some freaky stuff. You're 19, 20, and I don't want to use her age against her, but you are 19, 20. I don't know if you have anything going on. They say you was an OnlyFans girl. I don't know if that's making you any money, but pretty sure they're making you what you suing for, $50 million. You know what I'm saying? Being enamored by this, you know. And why are you talking to a 50-year-old dude? Both. Why is he talking to a 20-year-old? Why are you talking to a 50-year-old dude? Money. Money, and then on his end is access to younger vagina. That's basically it.
Yeah.
You know.
And it sounds like because I can't call him Unc, so because he's around my age, but it sounds like
cousin Shay Shay.
Yeah, cuz it sounds like cuz is out here and also too this should be embarrassing, and this should be embarrassing to you all. I wrote a post on X. Let me find it real quick. After reading Shannon Sharpe's text, Black men, please understand when you are being fetishized, it's not love, it's not nurturing or caring. It's a
Nope.
kink. You're a fan, an FAN.
That's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Those text messages between them two, that is nasty work. I know it at the moment as a man. I know you're like, oh yeah, but that is bad. That's like you say, that's fetishizing. And nothing good can come from it. Nothing good comes from, you know what I'm saying? Her saying that, you falling into that and believing it. I mean, and it could be true. That's another thing too. It could be true. This could all be because he didn't do that.
That's what it sounds like to me, because she was asking for $25K a cheek.
Yeah.
And she was going to stop until he put that baby batter into her so she can have that big black baby.
Jesus.
And why the baby got to be big and black?
Well, Shannon Sharpe, big and black.
Big baby gravy. That's what she called it.
Yeah,
the baby gravy.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, see, all because like I said, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to shame the kink community, but that I cannot understand as a Black woman, as a Black person, why people have these slavery kinks. I don't understand that. Because I don't know why you're and romanticizing might be the wrong word. I don't know why that would be something that would be that would cause arousal for you. I don't understand all of that.
Right.
I don't understand that. And again, it could be my prudishness, and I will accept that and won't have anything. But then for it to come public, I mean, you a fan now.
Yeah. You a fan, you a fan, you a fan. You're right. It's but like it's too early in the stages, like I said, for me to make any kind of leaning towards one side or not. I would like for them to continue mediation. This should have never got to where it's at anyway. I don't know. It's just seems like.
And also, too, I bet you if it was any other attorney, they may have settled and this would have gone away.
Yeah, I believe that. I can see Tony, but he took one L. Now he's trying to find his W. I got to get me a win, right? And it's like, this ain't the one, brother. This ain't the one. So
I'm just hoping that the 10-minute tape doesn't leak.
Shannon wants it to leak so he can he can be vindicated. I know you don't want to see it, but he wants it to come. I guess that would be his only way to be vindicated. I looked at him kind of weird too, like, why you want that to leak? But I get it because this is being handled publicly, so I gotta handle it publicly one way or the other. So,
well, here's the thing, and I hear what you're saying, but I remember the show the nightcap after the tape with Michelle leak.
Mm,
He had too much glee for me,
mm.
as if it was he
Purposeful,
thought he
done.
was
Purposely
doing
done.
something.
Oh yeah.
Because people were talking about it. Man, who is Michelle? Why you got Michelle hollering like that and all this other
Yeah.
stuff? He took a lot of glee and almost a level of pride in it.
Right.
I'm just can imagine.
I look at, you know what I look at that as, Pam? That came out, and then as soon as that leaked, he started doing male enhancement drug commercials or advertisements.
You think
So
that was promo for those things?
could be. It could have been. I don't know. But it also, it goes back to what you said about how hard it is to go, and they even brought it up, how hard it is to go Instagram live. Like you said, it's at least 2 to 3 button presses to even get to the live. And then for
Because
you to
there is a
say,
prompt. Yeah, there's a prompt that asks you, "Are you ready?"
are you ready?
Are you ready to go live? Are you sure you want to go live? It's some prompt that there, and then you have
Do
to
you
press
want to
the button.
name it? Do you want to title your live? All of
Exactly.
that. It's a lot of stuff. So, but I mean, and one of the complaints that said that he liked the videotape. So I could see Shannon, all that other stuff of the freaky stuff. I believe a 50-year-old man with money would do that. I do. I hate to say it, 50-year-old man with money who already is probably sexually undisciplined. I see him doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
I
because
do.
I think this was the lawsuit that he there was a Bucket.
Mm,
She said that Bucket, and I was like, what Bucket got to do with it? Bucket is in here. Put Bucket's name in here. So I mean, I could see that. So, but I also see, even though this probably is embarrassing, even though all of this other stuff, there's probably a level, because again, I believe you're a fan, you're a fan, you're a fan.
mm.
There is some level of pride. See, they're gonna see what this old man can do.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Don't forget the gay rumors was floating around.
True.
Yeah,
True.
I don't put that past him. I do not. I don't put it past him. I think he is a real proud. He real proud. You know what I'm saying? So to squash that, my reputation's on the line. I do think he's genuine. I think he's a genuine dude. I don't see him going the route of, and this is just, I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? And everything could come out and then I could be totally wrong, but I don't see him going the sense of forcing sex. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Let alone with a 20-year-old, somebody young, like what she said as soon as she came in the house, she walked. But that was Michelle, right? Michelle said that, or was that?
No, that was Tony Busby's client.
So as soon as she came in the door, she walked right upstairs to the bedroom.
He didn't say anything to her. He walked up the steps and she went right behind him.
Yeah. So that to me tells me that y'all relationship was you do OnlyFans. How did I even get you in the first place? I probably propositioned you with money. You know what I'm saying?
25,000 a cheek.
25K a cheek. So it's a lot. It's an uphill battle. It's
Right.
already an uphill battle when you're a sex worker and something happens to you. It's an uphill battle to prove your case when it comes to things, because it seems like you would, you know what I'm saying? Not that they would, but it seems like you would do anything for money. When you know what I'm saying? Once you start selling your body for money, and I'm not saying this to disrespect any sex workers out there who could be listening, but that's going to be the notion all the time. You know what I'm saying? That we're trying to respect the sex worker. I hate to say it. It really don't exist because you're a sex worker. You know what I mean? The respect
Well, yeah,
that is.
and let's be clear that your body is the commodity, is the product. So I mean, if you try to put it in those types of terms,
Yeah.
Your body is the commodity, is the product. So yeah, you're going to negotiate a fee for each transaction that you have. And so if you're dealing with some man who is a multi-millionaire, that price would be different versus someone who is a truck driver.
Right.
you know that he can, let's forego my OnlyFans account, 25K a cheek.
Yeah. So that's the whole nuts and bolts of the situation. Like I said, I don't know one side or the other, but it's just a weird case. Case is real weird. The other Michelle case, I don't think that even went anywhere. I really don't. I don't see that going nowhere. That was, she was all over the place. The grass was dope.
Well, I can just tell you, Michelle has a case. Tony Busby's client has a case. Both of them be in the same place. Lakers in
Yeah.
5.
Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. All right, people. Yeah, everybody thank Blue for coming out and going over, giving us his perspective. I do appreciate that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Y'all follow Blue on his channel. Let's shout out and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, please do, man. Blues House on YouTube, and then it's Blues House. Actually, it's just Blues House everywhere if you want to follow me. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that. TikTok. I go live on Thursdays with Blues House Live, and then I also go live on Mondays with my Blurred AF family. So yeah, check us out, man. And I also drop videos periodically throughout the week. So
Yes, y'all make sure y'all follow Blue. He has some very good content, and like I said, I use his brain. He's also into rap music and sports. So if y'all are interested in that, y'all make sure y'all follow him, and he'll go over all that stuff for you. And again, entertainers, I'm in the middle of my insomnia thing, so I may go live later on this evening. I do want to go over. Hold on, there's some Ryan Coogler news that I do want to go over, and I may go over that in conjunction with some Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni information. We'll go over that. So just stay tuned. If I don't impromptu go live tonight, I'll definitely do a video for it so that it'll be ready for sometimes on tomorrow. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, subscribe to Blue's channel and give him a like over there on his channel. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making this video. Drop it down in the comments. What do you think is going to be the disposition for this case? From all the information that you've heard from Michelle's case that was filed last year and the case that's filed by Tony Busby's client, tell me what you think. Do you think this is a money grab? Do you think that there's too many comparisons for it to not be true? What do you think about Michelle's graphs and her explanations for those graphs? What do you think about Tony Busby's current client's lawsuit? What do you think about Tony Busby? Drop all that down in the comments. All right, people. And as always, bye-bye. Ooh, a mess.